Segment, we have Mr. ABender, the coordinator for the Native American Indians and Indian and Peoples Coalition for Democratic Growth. And of course, Mr. Bender, during this last segment, let's give you an opportunity to sort of talk about some of the future plans for this organization and some of the things that individuals who might not be active in the People's Coalition aspect of it, who might want to join you. And let's do it from that perspective over the last few minutes that we have here.
Okay, that's what I'd like to address, in that our coalition plans to broaden the geographic scope of our activities to where we're not just a coalition that deals within the Middle Tennessee area. We'd like to become a coalition that would address these issues across the state. And even further than that, to address not just issues in the state of Tennessee, these kinds of issues, but throughout the whole region, throughout the whole southern region, and to bring in larger numbers of not just Native American people, but African American people, Asian American, Mexican American, all the people of this land that are affected by these issues, that are affected by questions of grave desecration, that are affected by questions of development. So I said we want to bring in everybody from Native American people to African American people to European American people to deal with these issues, and we feel the stronger that we get, the more effectively we can deal with these issues.
Have you ever thought in terms of any kind of political aspirations for this organization, which is to say that certainly these coalitions play significant roles, but in the end, in America, as you undoubtedly know, that it all boils down to votes, and it all boils down to politics in a real sense, well, in the sense that your ability to be able to wield votes and move people. How do you see that organization working within that political arena?
Well, I've had some, I guess, some people call me a person who has visions of things far off down the line. Some of your visions come to fruition, some of them don't. Some of your visions are can be realistic, or some can be less realistic than others. But what I'd like to look at is how we could, as a coalition, get involved in more politics on both a regional and national level, to where we're dealing with all the issues that confront peoples of the United States. We're talking about issues of racism, we're talking about issues of health care, we're talking about issues of employment, we're talking about issues of housing. And that what we're doing now would end up as just being a jumping off point for getting into those larger issues, and also dealing with matters on the national political scene in terms of whether we can still effectively pool our votes in terms of looking at the Democratic and Republican parties, or whether we have to look at the possibility of some type of third party. And you never know what can be the genesis of a third party. It could be our coalition right here.
And of course, all of these issues are very, very important, not only in reference to the Native American Indian in this particular area, but it's also important to Native American Indians wherever they might be. Is that, even though we might have a rich archaeological source here, but issues that are raised and dealt with here are also important to Native American Indians and other peoples in other areas. Would that be a correct assessment?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, that's a very correct statement. And in that regard, in fact, within the next week or so, around March the 9th or the 10th, there's going to be a national Indian meeting in Tampa, Florida, to deal with the issue of graves desecration. Because this is an issue that affects Native American people, not just in the South, but it's an issue that Native Americans throughout the entire United States feel the same way about, basically.
And so there will be some kind of organization, unity kind of organization in Florida here coming up soon, dealing with this as an issue. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, it'll be a type of unity conference of Native Americans throughout the country in Tampa, Florida, within the next, I'd say, about a couple of weeks. Because, as I said, this is an issue that really hits hard for all Native Americans and really strikes home, because we revere our ancient burial sites, and we just feel that when you destroy and disturb Native American remains, you know, it's like destroying us, live Native Americans. It has, you know, such an effect, such a strong effect.
Very good. And of course, you know, we've had organizations dealing with the National Association for Advancement of Colored People and other organizations dealing with other interest groups and racial groups and et cetera. Do you see this as an organization that could possibly serve as a spearhead to deal with some of the problems that the Native Americans have, now outside of grave desecrations and some of the economic problems and et cetera. Would you see this as such an organization being able to bring people together to do that?
Yes, I do. And what I would like to see is our coalition being perhaps the genesis for dealing with the larger Native American issues, as I said, housing, unemployment, health care, racism, and not just as these issues as how they affect Native Americans, but bringing all the peoples of this country together to deal with those issues, how these issues impact African Americans, how these issues impact Asian Americans and Hispanic Americans, and forming a coalition of all our affected groups for our own greater strength.
Very good. And of course, let me thank you over those last 30 seconds that we have, Mr. Bender, for coming by and giving us that perspective dealing with the problems and some of the challenges facing the Native American Indian, and how you are working to try to bring in other groups to work within this coalition in order to deal with what we consider to be a very, very important issue. And of course, that has to do with the welfare of the first American. And I think that we're simply delighted that you came by and talked with us today in reference to this. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.